The crowd looks at Monaco, and they see a mirage. They call it luck. They call it being blessed. But when you see someone making the most difficult things look easy, it is because they have endured thousands of 4:30 a.m. mornings that you didn't see. They survive sleepless nights of rejection, silent collapses, and brutal assaults on their own laziness. The composure you see is not innate. It is the result of a war zone hidden beneath expensive silk. Do not crave an extraordinary result if you still accept a mediocre lifestyle. Do not dream of Monaco if you are still making excuses for procrastination. Here, we do not believe in ease, we believe in iron discipline. If you are ready to kill your laziness and begin the assault on your life's goals, subscribe and comment below. Welcome to a world where luxury is the reward for those who refuse to quit. Let's begin. In Monaco, the boundary between leisure and rigor is as thin as a silk thread. The crowd often mistakenly believes that a war zone must be a place filled with dust and screams. But in this kingdom of summits, the real battlefield lies behind closed mahogany doors and within eyes that never lose their focus. Living in luxury does not mean retreating from the fight. On the contrary, it is when you engage in a more sophisticated battle, the war against complacency. Observe how a man adjusts the lapel of his bespoke suit before entering a private bank lobby. That precision doesn't come from his face, it comes from habit. The war zone here is extreme self-discipline. While the rest of the world sleeps, the owners of the empires here have already completed their physical training and updated market indices from London to Hong Kong. They understand that to maintain an effortless appearance amidst the crowd, they must work 10 times harder than the average person in the shadows. What is the lesson here? It is the law of stillness. True power does not lie in how much money you have, but in how much control you have over your own laziness. Luxury is not a cradle for slumber. It is a reward to give you more resources to continue attacking larger goals. If you view wealth as a stopping point, you will be eliminated. If you view it as a tool, you become the master of the game. I want you to try looking at Monaco from a different perspective, one that few mention. Look at every supercar driving on the streets of Monte Carlo, not as a toy, but as a modern chariot. The person driving it is a warrior who has won tens of thousands of battles against their own mind. They do not drive to show off. They drive to mark the presence of an iron will forged through the hell of pressure and responsibility. The new perspective I want to send to you is, comfort is the enemy of greatness. When you begin to feel satisfied with what you have, that is when the war zone within you begins to grow cold. In Monaco, those who stand the firmest are not the richest, but those with the highest capacity to endure pressure in an environment that seemingly has none. But to keep that will sharp amidst flamboyant temptations, they need another secret weapon. A silent rule that helps them distinguish between the flashy nouveau riche and the true empires that remain hidden in the dark. That is when we need to decode the most powerful language of power here. It is not the roar of a V12 engine, but the strength that comes from silence. If Monaco is a paradise, then satisfaction is the venomous snake hiding beneath the green grass of Casino Square. In the context of a nation where every luxury is within reach, the greatest challenge is not how to own another supercar, but how not to be swallowed by tranquility. Here, satisfaction is not considered a destination, but a sign of decline. Those at the peak of Monaco society understand a brutal law. The moment you feel you have enough is the moment the world begins to leave you behind. Look at the stillness of those yachts. To a tourist, they are symbols of enjoyment. But to their owners, they are reminders of finitude. A yacht that is not operated will soon be rusted by sea salt. A mind that is not challenged by new goals will soon be eroded by hedonism. The truly valuable lesson here is the discipline of refusal. In Monaco, true residents do not say yes to every party. They do not nod to every invitation of luxury. They train the ability to refuse short-term pleasures to protect a long-term vision. This lesson is not just for billionaires. It is for anyone yearning to reach greatness. Do not let a few initial results blind you. Use convenience as a launch pad, not a golden cage to imprison your will. I want to invite you to reflect on a new perspective. Prosperity is a dynamic state, not a static one. Many people mistakenly believe the goal of life is to earn enough money to rest. But in Monaco, you will see that the wealthiest people are the most persistent workers. Why? Because they realize that happiness does not lie in possessing material things, but in maintaining the ability to conquer. Satisfaction is a form of euthanasia for creative thinking. When you eliminate satisfaction from your dictionary, you will see that each passing day is not a repetition, but a new assault on your own limits. Anyone as deeper, we see that Monaco is a filter of humanity. Those who come here only to spend money will soon be forgotten. Those who stay and create history are those who have learned to survive through abundance. They treat luxury with a stoic attitude. Appreciate it, but never let it control your soul. Your enemy is not a competitor, but the feeling of contentment brewing in your heart after every small victory. But how do you maintain that fire of attack when you are surrounded by the world's sweetest temptations? To do that, the elite in Monaco do not rely solely on will. They rely on a golden rule of persistence, a rule we call the power of the final accumulation. It is time for us to step into the world of silent efforts, where the difference between a winner and a loser sometimes lies in a single number. In Monaco, the boundary between greatness and mediocrity is not measured in kilometers, but in millimeters. This is where the rule of the power of one more becomes the unwritten law for every sustainable empire. In an environment where everyone has talent and everyone has resources, the only thing that creates class stratification is the ability to exert one more effort when everyone else has stopped. In Monaco, precision is not an option. It is a religion. A watch gear is polished one more time to achieve perfect smoothness. A racer brakes 1 second later to dominate the corner. A tycoon makes one last phone call at the end of the day when the New York market is about to close. That is not greed. It is absolute respect for one's own potential. Look at the rhythm of life of those who truly belong to the elite class here. The precious lesson they teach us is not to work more, but to work beyond the limits of comfort. When you feel you have finished 10 reps of weights, perform the 11th. When you are about to put down your pen after a long day, review the plan one more time. Why? Because it is in that extra time that your mind is truly tempered. That is when you separate yourself from the crowd, those who only do just enough to survive. In Monaco, doing just enough means falling behind. I want to offer a new perspective for you to contemplate: the accumulation of the ones. We often dream of grand leaps, of life-changing deals overnight. But the truth in this kingdom of billionaires is much humbler. Success is a cumulative calculation of tens of thousands of one more times. An extra 1% of effort every day is the compound interest of destiny. Supercars or penthouse apartments are not the results of a miracle. They are the results of accumulating those extra efforts that ordinary people refuse to perform due to fatigue or laziness. Anyone as deeper, we see that this rule is the tool to protect your own value. When you always perform one more time, you are sending a powerful signal to your subconscious that you are a person without limits. In Monaco, where competition is the fiercest on the planet, an individual's reputation is built on the foundation of this dedication. People do not trust those who get lucky. They bet on those with iron discipline, those who always do more than what is asked of them. However, effort alone is not enough. To ensure these silent efforts are not washed away by the passage of time, the elite in Monaco need a final form of power. A type of power that does not use words, does not use actions, but uses silence itself to assert its position before the world. That is when we reach the pinnacle of the art of high-class living, when silence becomes the most powerful manifesto of power. Finally, after all the brilliance of crystal and the roar of engines, Monaco leaves us with a naked truth. Life is a series of choices between different forms of pain. We often look at the world of the elite and dream of a paradise without a trace of hardship. But in reality, what makes the difference between the person standing on the penthouse balcony and the person on the street looking up is the type of hell they choose to enter. You can choose the pain of discipline or choose the pain of regret. Discipline weighs ounces, but regret weighs tons. In Monaco, their hell consists of sleepless nights facing financial risks, the terrifying pressure to maintain a legacy over centuries, and the loneliness of making decisions that no one around can understand. They choose the hell of brutal training to exchange for absolute freedom later. And the majority out there? They often choose temporary comfort only to face the hell of mediocrity and unfinished dreams for the rest of their lives. What is the final lesson I want you to take away? Do not pray for an easy life. Pray for shoulders strong enough and a spirit steel enough to carry a great life. Monaco is not for soft souls. It is a sanctuary for those who dare to face fear, dare to step into their own war zone every day, and turn hardships into masterpieces of lifestyle. Look deep into the mirror and ask yourself, which hell are you choosing? If you crave to breathe the air at the summit, you must accept its thinness. You must learn to love the scars from discipline, for they are the chapters of strength that write the declaration of independence for your life. Don't just look at the result, which is the supercars. Look at the process of tempering a person with enough courage to drive them without being corrupted by luxury. Sustainable prosperity never comes from accidental luck. It is a structure built on the foundation of stoic thinking and long-term vision. When you master your mind, you master your destiny. Monaco is not just a coordinate on a map. It is a state of mind of those who never know how to give up. The journey to decode Monaco and the elite world today concludes here. If you feel the value from these deep analytical perspectives, if you find yourself empowered to face your own hell of discipline, please express it with a like and hit the subscribe button. Your companionship is the motivation for us to continue producing content with depth, piercing through the material shell to touch the soul of success. And if you want to become an important part of the channel's development journey, you can support us via the Super Thanks feature. Every contribution of yours helps us have more resources to bring cinematic films and sharper analyses of the high-end world. Remember, you don't have to be born in Monaco to live like a winner. You just need to start choosing your pain correctly today. Goodbye, and we will meet again at the top.